What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 347 of Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
And Lj.Lowery.
That's a lot of episodes. Hello.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that 365. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I probably won't listen to an episode every day, but just the fact that somebody could, really excited to me. I think it's cool.
Oh, yeah.
This week, we're geeking out about Tears of the Kingdom. Like, there's other stuff that we're geeking out about, too, but really, Zelda. That's the big one.
It's literally dominated, like, every news space that, like, I follow. Like, IGN... like even looking through Game Rant and stuff like that, and Screen Rant, and it's just like it's all Zelda.
Right. Well, that's whenever a movie comes out, right? Especially a Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to find movie news.
I mean, even like when the Mario movie came out, like it was all record stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still like even the Mario movie now. There's a bunch of news articles about how it drops on digital like this week, and it's just like
we didn't throw this in the news. But speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, the creators of Legend of Zelda, it said, which I just know one, so that was confusing, but it said the creators of Legend of Zelda are down for a movie.
Yeah,
a Tears of the Kingdom movie, specifically.
That might come quicker than we think.
A Tears of the Kingdom movie. There's other Zelda games.
There's other things.
We could get a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom bridge.
Oh, if it's not Ocarina of Time, then like, what are y'all doing?
I was gonna say, I feel like,
figure out what happened to the Sheikah Slate.
Anyway,
where did it go?
We'll stay away from story plot stuff. We're probably gonna dive quite a bit into the actual, just like the gameplay mechanics of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of impossible to talk about the game without talking about the mechanics. But before we do that, LJ, what have you been playing?
I played stuff, and none of it was Tears of the Kingdom.
Good for you. Let's go. Heck yeah.
I guess I'll start off by saying, like, yes, I totally put 60 plus hours into Breath of the Wild. But I just haven't completed it. I haven't beat it, so I'm like, I have no business wasting the money on a sequel to a game that I never beat. So I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Plus, I did beat Jedi Survivor, and that's the only thing I played for like a solid week.
Mm-hmm.
And Jedi Survivor was really good. It's got a really good story twist. It's worth playing if you enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order. Really good game. A lot to do. The other game I actually played, I ended up getting a voucher. Since I'm like, these are still out, like, you know, the whole voucher system is still out there. I'm not going to do Tears, but I do want to check out a couple things that I've been wanting to check out. I ended up grabbing Advanced Wars, which I'm not that hot on yet.
Okay.
That game in particular, it seems like there are like very specific scenarios they want you to complete so far, and they don't really give you any tactical freedom like right away, which is kind of a bummer.
I see.
But the one I actually have played a lot this weekend, like I've played a good maybe 2 or 3 hours of it now, is I ended up grabbing Mario Party Superstars. Because I got
let's go.
I got a couple friends that own it, and so like we're gonna do like a stream night because you can actually play it online. And this is what I wanted. I don't know if y'all ever played or knew about like the Super Mario Party, that first one that came to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're supposed to put like switches together and stuff.
But this Super Mario or Mario Party Superstars is I think what I wanted that to be, because you get a couple boards and a bunch of mini games, all from past like Mario games, from like Mario Party 1 through 10.
Nice.
It's so nostalgic, and there's no like, you know, I felt like Super Mario Party was obviously, you know, because it was on the Switch. You know, like the last couple have been like, you know, super gimmicky because it's like Wii U and Switch and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
But this one is just straight up like old school Mario Party, but like fresh coat of paint, like modernized. Like there's no gimmicks or anything like that makes me feel like, oh, I should play this on my TV, or I need Joy-Cons or whatever. Like, it is fun. So good. I recommend it. I know Mario Party. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like the only Mario Party game I've played in recent years that I've like actually enjoyed. But also, now I think about it, it's like one of the only Mario Parties I've ever even played in recent years. I feel like all the Mario Parties were like coming out for I mean, I remember playing a lot on the Wii.
Yeah.
And then it's like Wii U, Switch.
I even had 10 on Wii U, which I actually enjoyed, but...
Like, I think this is the one where I actually can like go to a friend's house and we're like, hey, you want to play Mario Party? Yeah, sure.
Yes,
and then
yeah.
you kind of know what to expect. Like the mini games are like really easy to pick up. Yeah, what you're saying is there's no gimmicks, there's no weird
so good
things about it. It's just kind of, it feels more chill and more laid back. Obviously, you can still make it as intense as you want for Mario Party, but I know what you mean though. This is, it's fun.
Like I played by myself. Like I'm enjoying it just by myself too. Like I'm just like this is this is fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, really good Mario Party game. So if anybody is like itching for like that to play something like that, this is the game I recommend. Yeah, it's good. And then lastly, I'm definitely getting, especially since Street Fighter 6 is coming out, and there's news with Mortal Kombat we'll be talking about in a minute. There's more stuff about Tekken. I got on a little Tekken kick again this weekend, and on Saturday night, I could tell there were some people that, like, I don't know if just trolls trying to, like, stay in the lower ranks just to, like, mess with people, because they definitely let me win a couple times. But I got on an 11 win streak with Akuma, and, like, I shot up a bunch of ranks.
Oh,
and then, like, it was nice to be, like, and then Sunday night, I went back and played some more, and, like, I actually, like, fought for it. And, like, it was just one of those things where I'm, like... It's so inconsistent. Like, I could jump on there, win a few matches, and still get my butt kicked, but, like, usually it's hit or miss depending on, like, what day I play or whatever. Like, usually I'm cold or I'm not, or I don't know. Like, it's just... Or there's trolls messing with people.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I was genuinely on a good streak this weekend, and I was like, wow, like, a lot of those wins and a lot of those ranks felt earned, except for, like, save for, like, maybe a few matches, but... Oh, it just felt good. And it's funny because I'm playing as Akuma and he's only in 7, so I'm like I'm gonna enjoy this while like I'm here because I know I'm gonna have to pick up a new character during 8. So
for sure.
I just felt like I've been in the same like rank bracket for like the last couple years since I got into it, and so now it just feels weird to move up. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually good with this character, even though he's a Street Fighter character in a Tekken game. It's weird. But yeah, those are the things I've been playing this weekend.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also played, because I got the voucher as well, I played a little bit of Pokemon Scarlet.
Oh yeah,
the day before.
The day before.
And I'm probably not going to play the game because I have Tears of the Kingdom now and I'll forget about it by the time.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Why would it?
But it gave me kind of a unique experience, I feel like, getting into Tears of the Kingdom, because that game's really good. And Pokemon Scarlet isn't.
Oh, no.
Like, Tears of the... Okay, I was clipping through the staircase as I was walking up. Like,
oh, wow.
Graphically, my feet were, like, going into the stairs, which isn't a huge deal. But it's just... Like, Pokemon deserves so much better.
Yeah.
And playing that game just made me realize that, like, especially going into Tears of the Kingdom and how great that game is.
They do a lot of stuff differently in Scarlet and Violet as well. Like, they really do.
And, I mean, I'll check things out. The Roxanne phone, I told you guys about that in our podcast. So, for the listeners... There's this Roxanne phone, and apparently the Roxanne phone is the newest phone that you can go to the store and buy, and there is a Pokemon apparently happily living inside this phone, but that still insinuates that, like, they're either farming or trapping these Pokemon to put them in these phones.
Yeah.
And then selling.
That'd be like having the latest iPhone be like some kind of Apple themed Pokemon or something, or like
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
It's strange. It felt a little straight, but I'm sure the game would be fun, and I kind of want to get my Pokemon over there, and I think that would be kind of like I haven't played since Pokemon X and Y.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to connect it to Pokemon Go since I got back into that recently.
I was told that I can use Pokemon Home to get my 30th Pokemon in there.
Yes.
So,
sure can.
I'm going to try to do that, and I think that would be cool. But it's just interesting to see just how many hurdles it has already, and I just started the game, compared to Zelda, and it's crazy to me that Pokemon, with as much money as they have, can't
Still
put
just
out like a real AAA game.
Game Freak should be a better studio than it is. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a AAA game. That's the best way to put it. And that amazes me. I really think Nintendo, like Game Freak, maybe just needs to hire out, like outsource some of what they're doing.
Or something.
Because there are other companies that can do what Pokemon is.
I mean, I think I mentioned this before, but like Monolith from like the people that make Xenoblade, they could make an amazing Pokemon game.
Yeah. That said, we can kind of move on from that. I just played a little bit and was like, wow, this could be really cool. Gonna go play a cool game now. And now I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom. Shelley, you and I kind of talked about it before the podcast started, and we were both on the same page of we're both really enjoying it. I don't know if IGN's 10 out of 10. That just seems like real like rose-colored glasses.
I would agree.
Most companies did give it a very similar score, like also.
Super, 10 out of 10s and stuff.
And I mean, if I would have given a rating, I'd probably say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Like, it's still a good game. I'm
right.
not saying it's a bad game. Just the 10 out of 10, I'm like, oh. Like, it's a 10 out of 10 Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's not fair to the other game. Like, we live in a world where, Red Dead 2 and God of War exist. And I'm like, this is good.
It's kind of like, I'm trying to compare it to, like, Horizon, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, Horizon has arguably better story. Probably.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom yet, so we don't really know. Story isn't really that prioritized in Tears of the Kingdom, nor was it in Breath of the Wild. So, anyway. Better graphics in Horizon. You're going around, like, you're hunting things, collecting resources. It's way more expanded upon in Horizon. But, I don't know, there's something about, I think for me, it is sort of the nostalgia factor of Zelda that I personally prefer it. I think, it really emphasizes exploration in a much more, I don't know, I think it rewards exploration a little bit more than Horizon, for example. Then, of course, you have like the whole building aspect.
That's what I love about both of these franchises or series is the exploration and the discovery.
Yeah, exactly. But, I don't know, I'm just trying to compare them because it's just like kind of, why would this be 10 out of 10 and something like Horizon, for example, not be 10 out of 10, right? Because there's a lot of things that Horizon does better, even just graphics alone, right? Like, obviously graphics don't make a game, especially to me, like, usually I don't care that much, and especially in a game like this I don't care that much, but a lot of reviewers seem to care a lot about graphics, you know what I mean? Are they ignoring that for this? Is it the rose-colored glasses? I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people are having fun with this game. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I really, really am. I'm having more fun with this game. Like, this was, like, my most anticipated game of the year. And I've been playing, like, nonstop. It's just been a long time since I've gotten this into a new game. Honestly, like, it really does match the energy of the original Breath of the Wild for me. Which is really, really good.
Yeah.
But,
like, I'm saying it's not a 10 out of 10,
not perfect.
but I woke up this morning and then I didn't stop playing until we podcast.
Yeah, it's super good. I think...
Not a bad game by any means.
There also is the aspect of a lot of people are really excited for this game, and so we're all collectively, there's a sort of community hype going on, this community, like, all these discoveries and all these things. Especially with the building aspects, people are coming up with crazy builds, which is super funny.
It feels like it really emphasizes that building mechanic, it seems like, for better or for worse. Like, some people, like, really dig it and are having stupid fun with it, especially on TikTok. And then there's other people that really don't like how emphasized the building.
It feels a little clunky to me, the building mechanics. I mentioned I'm bitter about losing my Sheikah Slate. But my biggest problem with the building mechanics, and my wife's not having this problem, so maybe it's just me. I use Photoshop a lot, and maybe that's why. And in Photoshop, you can snap things really easily. So it, like, things just click where they're supposed to for you.
Yeah.
And in Tears of the Kingdom, items will clip. They will clip for you together. They will snap, I mean. but it's like not a very good or very touchy snap. They don't always snap when you want them to.
Yes,
I would rather
true.
it be more of a strict snapping, and then you can toggle that off if you want to be more like creative. Because 9 times out of 10, I want them to snap and be parallel to what they're supposed to be and be symmetrical.
Yeah.
And like be in the right
And that's
spot.
what the game wants you to do too. It punishes you if you don't have it pixel perfect. So many times, either me or my husband in like a shrine, for example, when you're supposed to be building something. Because a lot of these shrines are emphasized like they have this new building and physics mechanic surrounding it. But that's happened so many times where it's like, oh, it's actually kind of, sometimes it's not even obvious what you're supposed to do, by the way, which I am too stupid for. But even when it's really obvious, like what you're supposed to be doing, like it gives you materials to like build a boat, for example. If you don't have everything absolutely lined up, like you were saying, it's just not going to work. And then you're going to get really frustrated. Like, hey, I thought this is what I was supposed to do. You look it up later. It turns out it is what you're supposed to do. You just didn't quite have the angle
snap
right.
it correctly, yeah.
It didn't snap. And so you're right. It's like, why wouldn't it be... Why do they even give you that option then if they don't encourage... Like, if they want you to get it right on the money. Yeah.
Because that's... I mean, again, maybe it's a Photoshop thing that just, like, if I don't want to snap something on Photoshop, I hit a button, and then it stops doing that snap for me so I can be pixel perfect.
Yep.
But almost any time, I'm going to want that motor to be in the middle, facing away from the water, so that it'll go forward. I don't want it to go at a 89-degree angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a big problem for me. And then I don't remember how Breath of the Wild worked with horses. I feel like I played Red Dead Redemption after Breath of the Wild. I definitely did. But the fact that I can't call my horse from anywhere.
Yes, so you couldn't do
is
that.
realistic.
Yeah.
But it's so annoying.
Yep.
Like, just give me my horse.
Because you'd have to go back and find your horse. Or go back to the stable, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give me my horse. I am in another like land. You're gonna make me travel all the way up this road. I don't want to walk.
Because I believe it does come to you within certain distances, right?
Yeah, if you whistle for him.
Yeah.
So that whistle, and then I was running into an issue where I had my horse across a river, and I walked across the river, and I thought, could I get it over here? And I couldn't, because the horse can't cross over that way. And it'd be like, there was an item.
Just raft it over now.
There was an item in Breath of the Wild that it was an armor set you could give to your horses to basically enable that, like instant teleportation. They could just come to you anywhere. Yeah. But that's silly. Cool. I wish it was just you could just do that anyway. I guess that would somewhat invalidate the stables.
You should be able to attach rockets to your horse now.
Yeah, I don't really care.
But I could do that in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Like, why would you make a game more
realistic? It's realistic. You could turn things back in time. It's realistic.
Red Dead Redemption is overly realistic.
It's true.
Your guns rust, and you can call your horse from wherever.
I just think there's a lot of really, really, really great things in Tears of the Kingdom that I really like. But yeah, the building inconsistencies can get really annoying. It's also a really hard game, and like that's not necessarily a complaint. It's just more me like, oh, I'm bad at the game, and I need to.
See, that's how I felt out about Breath of the Wild. I was like, I know there's stuff I need to do because I'm trying to get to the Goron Divine Beast, but I'm like, I don't want to have to do all this stuff just so I don't burn myself alive.
I'm finding I'm really bad at combat. I'm getting wrecked. Sword and shielding it out.
I actually wasn't that bad at combat in the previous game.
This one, I don't know. I don't remember being this bad in the last one.
I still got wrecked, but like
this. I mean, and you start with like less hearts and stuff. That said, like, I don't want anyone to think, because I know this podcast, we're kind of notorious at this point for hating on Nintendo a little bit.
Yeah.
And we always say it's because we love Nintendo so much, we want the best. And I don't think this is a bad game by any means. There's a lot of really cool things that are happening.
It's a really good
pretty.
Game, yeah.
The music's amazing. There was such a cool moment. I was riding down this rail car, and a butterfly like flew by my face, and it looked really cinematic. But it was just literally a butterfly that if I had a net, I could have caught. I don't know. I'm assuming there's nets you can catch the bugs. That's normal.
That wasn't a thing in the first game, so.
I would assume.
But it has been a thing in other. Yep, it's been in other Zelda games.
They must have played Sonic Frontiers because there are rails now.
Yeah, It was really cinematic, and I'm pretty sure that I could just like interact with that if I wanted to. Or the birds, a bird will fly over, and you're like, wow, I could shoot an arrow and like hit that bird. It's not there for like it doesn't it looks cinematic, but it's not there for cinematic purposes, and that's really cool. I don't know, getting to like see how Hyrule has changed has been really neat. Seeing how the world has progressed has been cool. Yeah, I think that's all of it. The exploration is really fun. The sky stuff is kind of crazy and weird. I don't know if I needed to expand upward, but I like it. It's all right.
Nice.
And yeah, like you said, it rewards exploration. There's little things you'll just talk to people, or I just talked to somebody, and they're like, I'm from this hometown, but I don't live there anymore because he's like, when the blank attacked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I'm going to go find out about that now. Thank you. That's cool.
Yeah. What I do really like, and again, it's mostly because of story, and that's why the first game felt so empty. And I think we remembered, like, talked about it on the podcast, where it's like felt so empty, and like, yeah, it makes sense because of Calamity destroyed a lot of stuff, right? Like it story and lore wise makes sense, but it was still just like, kind of would have been nice to see more people, more villages. And that was something that Age of Calamity actually did really well. One of the few things, in my opinion, it did well story wise was really made the like Hyrule feel alive, because you have all these villages that you're helping out, even if you're not like physically there all the time. It felt really alive.
There's so many spots on the map that like they needed your help, kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then this game, it's like obviously still not quite as alive as like Age of Calamity, but you could tell it's like, again, story wise, it's like they're coming back, like there's people, like they're trying to rebuild, and like all these NPCs feel all so unique. They all got stuff that they're doing and things they're working on. Even if they don't have a quest for you, you could talk to them and be like, yeah, well, here's what I do. And like, I'm working for the research facility, or I'm doing this. I'm just like, it feels more alive to me, which I think is really cool. It feels like Hyrule is far more united than it was in Breath of the Wild. And I think probably because they're all,
that's cool.
Trauma bonded a little bit. This whole like, this is their second, essentially, almost end of the world kind of scenario in how many years? So, well, I guess the first one was technically 100 years ago, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just in a fairly short span. I assume the
sequel to this game will be even more alive. I doubt they'll have one. But there's all those little buildings everywhere that use just like a... Yeah. What's his name? Hanson?
Oh, Hudson.
Hudson's got little... Like, it looks like he's building a house, and it's just a plot. And they're all over the place. It's because you can build stuff, obviously. But they're like, yeah, we're gonna build houses everywhere, and they are literally everywhere. It's like, it was right before this whole kingdom gets like completely. It's gonna be overhoused soon. Real estate's gonna be really cheap.
No, it's cool though. There's a lot of so many cool, awesome, fun things with Tears of the Kingdom, but I do think that there's some people who are like, this is the best game ever made. This is perfect out of 10, and I would disagree. And I think it's interesting. I had one of my friends tell me, like, remember, you can only play this game for the first time once. And that was incredibly true for Breath of the Wild. I feel like the newness of Breath of the Wild, like the way it differentiated itself from the other Zelda games, was like such a cool, awesome experience. Seeing
that
like,
was
a bunch of cool things from lore, like really, really cool. I think that feeling has lessened greatly in this game, simply because a lot of this we've already explored before. Like, all the controls are the same. There's like just maybe a couple more controls that you get now. The overworld is the same. Things have changed, but like the map structure is the same, for example. And they've added on top of that, but I just think so that's kind of interesting too to think about, is like that feeling, that initial feeling I had playing Breath of the Wild, that extreme sense of like discovery and like I just need to check everything out. Like, I don't have that quite as strongly this time around, but that's okay because there's so much content that as long as I start wandering in one direction, I'll run into something that's interesting and cool. Like, I'll just find something.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, we love it. There's some small critiques, but it's good.
Yeah.
I feel like people are gonna listen and like, wow, Geeks
Under Grace
hated it.
Like, oh.
Definitely not the case.
I think I mentioned this last week, but I'm still playing Redfall also, which is ironic.
Nice.
That
Okay.
That game got so railed on. I did fail to mention that. I'm still enjoying it. It's not a good game, but it's fun. I think it's fun. Joe has been playing some of it too. So it's just, I think it's just funny to me, like, yeah. No,
Everyone's
cool.
playing Tears of the Kingdom. You're just playing Redfall.
We're playing like one of the worst games. Yes. But yeah, no, like I'm glad that y'all are still enjoying it and stuff. Like, it's got me wanting to go back to older Zelda games because I'm like, I still have that Link's Awakening remake that I never beat, and then hearing Age of Calamity get talked about again, like I'm like, oh, I could go back and play that, or I can just go back and play more Hyrule Warriors as well. Like, there's just so much Zelda that I have not like finished that I can just go back to instead of spending money on the new game.
I keep having Twilight Princess come up in conversation.
Yeah, because it's like everybody wants those that and Wind Waker on Switch.
Use the Switch port of that.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. So I guess we can move on then, because I know we could spend a whole podcast episode on talking about Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
So the gaming news. I mentioned last week, I think that loosely that there have been teases for Mortal Kombat and rumors for like Mortal Kombat 12. 5 days ago, they did have a teaser that had a clock ticking down hour by hour. Which time was very much a theme in Mortal Kombat 11. Mm-hmm. And the clock seems to be counting down to a 1, which tells me they're going to reboot. They're going to completely reboot it and call this Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, man.
Which also makes sense because of the story. The way that Mortal Kombat 11 plays out in the end is very much a reset, and it's a purposeful thing. Like, it's kind of cool the way things happen, but if people are that interested, you can go like YouTube it or like play it for yourself or something. Because those NetherRealm games have really amazing cinematic stories. Yeah, so I'm excited. Like I said before, it's a big year for all 3 big fighting game franchises. The big 3 are getting new games this year. At least Mortal Kombat is said to be coming out at some point this year, but I don't really believe that. But hey, that'd be cool if it does. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be drowning in fighting games this year. And then the next piece of news, which I find this would be interesting to just see how it runs. We did talk about a Switch port last week as well, so we're going to talk about this one. We're going to talk about one this week again. Hogwarts Legacy was supposed to come to Switch, got delayed during initial release. Then it got delayed to July, and then now it's getting delayed to November.
Wow. Thanks, Switch.
Gosh, that game is.
You would just not care about the game at that point.
Well, yeah. So it's like honestly, like it's one of those games that I play and like I'm like, man, I really don't know how. Like, I've played Switch ports before, and it is really cool seeing certain games run on Switch. But in my mind, I'm just like, this game is super graphically really good. It's cinematic. There's a lot going on in it. I can't imagine how a Switch version would run. I don't know how many people are waiting on a Switch version or were. I mean, I guess sure if you only own a Switch, yeah. Sure, but I got a buddy, my buddy's wife. She's been waiting for this to come out because like she's got a Switch. That's her thing. Like, he's got Xbox and PlayStation, but she wants it on Switch. And so now it's like she's got to wait another couple months for this to come out, and she was totally looking forward to it coming out in July. I think it would be neat, like if you have a console or a PC, like go play it there. But like yeah, it's like I'm glad they're not canceling it like Midnight Suns. Like I think that's about all that's left though. Is like I feel like they're another delay away, or the next piece of news about this game could be that it's getting canceled. I know aside from Midnight Suns, there have been other Switch ports that have gotten canceled in the past. So it's getting real hard to also develop for multi-generations now. Because I think there's a couple of PS4 and Xbox versions that got delayed that got canceled for another game recently too. But yeah, like you have to develop for, not only do you have to develop for the base Xbox and PS4s, there's the Pro versions of those you have to consider now. And then there's also like the next gen stuff too. And then you have the Switch and PC. So I think it's getting hard for a lot of these AAA companies to manage now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about, again, not to bring up Tears of the Kingdom again, but to bring up Tears of the Kingdom again. You know, I am somewhat surprised how well it's running. There's still a couple frame drops I get every now and again.
Game.
It's a big, but it's, and you know, even transitioning between the different maps and transitioning between, like, when you use the Ascend ability, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm surprised that transitions so well. Okay, good on you, Nintendo. But it's always like, I have this set expectations just for Nintendo and the Switch specifically, because I know what type of system it runs on. A lot of people already are, like, mad that it doesn't look better. It really does look visually very similar to Breath of the Wild as far as graphics go. It's pretty weak. But it runs okay. You know, obviously Nintendo was making it for their Switch system, so they're running it on that hardware. They were planning for that hardware, but then think about, you know, there's also the PS5, there's also Xbox, there's also PC. If you're trying to make a game for all of those systems, like, they're all so different, and especially Nintendo being really behind. I don't know. I fully agree. It's, like, super hard for, like, games.
They're making
to, like, address for all of them.
They're making games for 6-year-old hardware now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it's cool. Like, it's interesting too because, like, being a big, like, I was a fan of, like, a lot of handheld, you know, platforms, and a lot of those just had different developers because they would have to make almost different games for them.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like you can't exactly do that now since there's a close parity to a lot of things. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's where that conversation keeps happening a lot more, especially as we move into this newest gen.
Yep.
So that's it for gaming news.
I saw a news report. We haven't talked about it because it wasn't really news, but it was just that the next Switch or next iteration, whatever, will not be announced until at least spring of 2024. And that was, like, probably not going to get announced spring 2024. There's definitely nothing before then, which is crazy. And that's an announcement. So, you know, usually they announce that's 2 years after that.
I said it won't be the same way as NX. Like, as like the whole NX thing. Because I think we knew about that a long time before, like, the Switch came out too. Or
yeah.
Like, before
it was during an investment meeting, and someone had asked,
right,
when are you going to have another console? I'm like, well, we're not even going to, like, consider announcing anything until spring 2024. That's if they have anything to announce at that point. So.
Yeah.
Switch is going to be here for a while.
Yeah, so we can move on.
Cool. We will get into movies then.
Yeah.
And I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Same. I have not watched anything.
Go ahead, LJ.
Okay.
Carrying us today.
So if you wonder if we dislike the game, we don't dislike the game. That's all we've been doing.
Yes. I mean, that's what I did with Jedi Survivor. I felt like I didn't watch hardly anything when I played that. Anyway, so I did watch 2 movies. I had a little movie marathon with my younger cousin. Every family was out doing stuff this past Saturday. We watched Scream 6, which was really fun. Ghostface has my favorite Call of Duty loadout, knife and shotgun. Really fun, really crazy, gruesome kills. Like, nothing like, and that's the thing I like about the Scream movies is, like, they are slasher films. Like, you're not, like, it's not like torture porn. Yes, you're gonna see some blood and people get stabbed and stuff. But it's fun. If you like cheesy slasher movies, obviously Scream prides itself in being that. The setting is really cool because it's in, you know, big city like New York. So they do some cool stuff with the settings and just Ghostface being there. Being the big packed city that it is. And I think it's better than the previous one that came out, which still wasn't bad, but that one was still very much like, oh, hey, you remember these old actors?
Yeah.
This one was a lot less of that. They did have a few returning, like, they did have, like, one, I think, older, like, returning actor from the original series, but that was kind of it. Like, they don't ride on those coattails as much in this one. They give the, like, lead actresses, like, they give kind of them their own kind of movie and their own time to shine.
That's good. Yeah.
Instead of the, like, I guess I would call it the, like, the Star Wars like Force Awakens
Sure.
kind of, like treatment.
That
You know?
effect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. The other movie I watched, which is really good. It's pretty heavy. It's called Prisoners, and it's with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. And I watched it back in 2013, and it's a like crime thriller, and it's basically an abduction story. These two families, pretty close with each other, live down the street from each other. Two of their little girls get abducted. It's like the first few minutes of the movie. Basically, the cop and then the father. Like it's a really crazy story because there's obviously suspects involved, and it's really about, like it kind of makes you think like, oh, like what would I do as a father? Like what lengths would you go as a parent to like try to find your daughter, especially if you knew who the killer or you knew who the person was and they just basically played everybody kind of a thing. There's a lot more twists and turns, so I'm not really spoiling anything. But and then Jake Gyllenhaal, he's really good in this movie too. Yeah, pretty heavy, pretty crazy. There, it does get a bit violent in there in that movie, but nothing too crazy. But these are both very, I guess it's kind of obvious. These are both very mature movies, so watch at your own risk. But yeah, really, The Prisoners is like I watched it in theaters, and it's probably one of my favorite like crime thriller dramas that I've seen.
Cool.
But yeah, that's it. Those are the movies I watched.
Sweet. We'll get into the movie news then.
Yeah, I think actually sort of a good intro there, talking about like the Star Wars sequels series effect of like, oh, look at these cool old actors that you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't they great? So anyway, that kind of goes into Beetlejuice 2. We got some of the original actors returning for Beetlejuice 2. We got like Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton. The big news that we'll talk about is how Willem Defoe is going to be in Beetlejuice 2. That's now confirmed.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I'll be honest, guys. I never watched Beetlejuice. Was he in the original?
No.
He was not. He'll be new. Okay, cool. I feel like he has big
fits.
Beetlejuice energy. Like, yeah, he fits.
Fit really
he could play some kind of...
He's a big old gremlin.
And it's a Tim Burton movie, so he can totally do a really cool design for Willem Dafoe, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be like taking place way after Beetlejuice. Like, there's some other actress that has been confirmed as like Winona Ryder's character's kid, for example.
Oh yeah, Jenna Ortega. She is basically the new horror girl. She's in the new Scream movies.
Right. Is Wednesday?
Yes, so she plays Wednesday, and that's a Tim Burton thing. So, like, obviously, like, it seems like they worked well enough together, and she had a lot of influence on Wednesday. So I think, like, it seems like she's going to be the go-to for Tim Burton for a while.
That's cool. That's I think, a good director to chum me up with, especially if you're good at sort of, like, scarier...
And it kind of...
Yeah.
And then it also kind of reminds me of, like, how, like, I know James Gunn has been talking about, like, how... Like, he works with a lot of the same people in a lot of his projects, and I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's cool that Tim Burton has found his next person, because like I know he's had like Johnny Depp in the past and stuff like that he's done a lot of stuff with and things like that. Like he seems to find his stars and use them for a while.
Yes, he does. But anyway, so that's something. It just makes me wonder if this movie is going to have that same effect of like, look at all these old actors with like these old characters, and now they're all like grown up, and now there's all these things. Yeah, it's probably gonna have that, but hopefully it's still a good movie despite that. And movies can still be good despite that.
I'm glad I watched the original recently, so I hope that the next one's gonna be good.
Yeah. Cool. So there's that, and then also just something really funny we learned. Little article here was if anyone's watched The Pope's Exorcist, it's a movie that Russel Crowe's in. I believe it came out in April of this
very
year.
recent, yeah.
Pretty recent, but a Twitter person has already found a very funny error in the movie. So they mentioned the Spanish Inquisition at some point. I don't know anything about the movie, so I can't give
fairly
you context.
based.
Yeah, I think they just mentioned it. It's called The Pope's Exorcist, right? I mean, obviously, that seems pretty unsurprising. They mentioned Spanish Inquisition.
I'm going to go look at a synopsis for this.
What's funny is that it shows a symbol for the Spanish Inquisition, except it's definitely not of the Spanish Inquisition. It's the Inquisition symbol in Dragon Age Inquisition. It is, and if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like an eye that has like a sword kind of going through it with like these weird wavy, almost sun ray looking things kind of circling it.
It's set in
all of the Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition art. You can't escape it in that game. It's like a huge, big main symbol.
They throw that symbol everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So they use that symbol, which definitely is not the Spanish Inquisition symbol. It is a fantasy fictional symbol, but it's like, holy cow, how did that make it through anything? How did that make it through anything? Did no one know? Like, but then that also begs the question of like this person who found out, were they just a huge Dragon Age fan? Or did they just know enough history to recognize that that wasn't the Spanish Inquisition symbol and that's something else? You know, like I have so many questions for this person who figured it out. But that's just like, that's wild to me. Like, how does that happen? The influence. Like someone just searches Inquisition symbol. It's like the first thing that comes up.
So good.
So funny.
It reminds me of, I think in Uncharted 4, I think there was like somebody grabbed like a piece of art from like somewhere on the internet or something, like to use as like a painting in the background, and it turned out to be like a screenshot from like Black Flag or something from Assassin's Creed.
Oh my god!
Like so, like it's this kind of stuff has definitely happened before, but this is just an even weirder situation. Like, and it's oddly specific.
And I mentioned this is that like, if they want to, as far as streaming services and stuff go, they can just update. Like, yeah. I don't know if I like that or not, that you could just update, you know, the coffee cup in Game of Thrones, or a guy in Mandalorian, or the Inquisition being the wrong Inquisition.
Like if the old Star Wars movies were done today, you can literally just cut out the part where the stormtrooper hits his head, or something, you know, like
it's true.
Stuff like that, like, you know,
it's really weird. Yeah, archiving is way harder. It's ironic because you would think that archiving old media would be easier now, and archiving media, but now everything's streaming. Maybe it's more accessible, but it's hard to store. It's because it could just be revoked at any moment or changed at any moment, just like you said. So finding original versions of things, or finding unedited, uncensored, for example, versions of things is actually like way harder to do. So it is interesting. I just think I can't help but laugh. Like, this is so funny.
I knew I had to share that instantly when I'm like, when it was a Dragon Age reference. I was like, yep, this is going right into the podcast chat.
The Dragon Age influence is too strong. Gamer influence is too strong. That Inquisition from Dragon Age is more popular than the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, because if you search Inquisition symbol, you get the Dragon Age Inquisition symbol. That's what you get.
Yep.
Like,
anyway,
you have to search Spanish Inquisition symbol.
You have to search it,
yeah.
If you just type in Inquisition, you're not going to get it. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's really funny, but that's all we have for movies.
Yeah.
We'll get into TV then. LJ, you did watch a little bit of TV. I haven't, which is crazy because I always watch TV.
I watched most of Visions at this point. I think I'm only missing 1 or 2 episodes. Still really good. I'm still having a hard time trying to decide which episode is my favorite. There are a few that I'm like, okay, that was alright. Like, that was still cool. But I feel like there's a larger amount. Like, I feel like with the previous Visions, there was at least 1 or 2 where I'm like, okay, these are my favorite. You know, like, the other ones are okay. Like, or they were really good. But this one, I just feel like it's a much more well-rounded package, I think. A well-rounded, like, collection. It's so good. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
The other thing I watched recently with my family is, I think we all have our weird little niche, like, shows we find off of, like, Netflix and stuff. So this one is called King of Collectibles, and it's a story about this guy. It's this really well-known it's this really popular high-end, like, auction house. But the guy's name is Kevin Golden. And it's this auction house that's in New Jersey. It's like, apparently it's like an online auction thing. I don't know where they do it, like what website or whatever they do the auctions at, but they specialize in acquiring like high dollar collectibles, like really high dollar stuff. So like there was like, you know, sports memorabilia, stuff like that. There's a couple of them where they did a specific run of like Pokemon cards. You know, kind of stuff like that, because there are some of those that, like, one of the, Jake Paul or somebody, Logan. I think it was Logan Paul that he got flack for carrying the like expensive Charizard around his neck or something when he went to a boxing match. It wasn't that, but like there was a particular set of cards that they sold, like, and basically what they do is they get people that own these things to be like, hey, like, put this on consignment and you're gonna make way more money than you realized you could. You could have, like, with this stuff. Because they deal with like a lot of celebrities and stuff will buy. Like there's one episode where they were trying to find a particular like LeBron related like set of cards, and like they showed like Drake was involved because he got like really big into like collecting and stuff like that. I think Peyton Manning is like an executive producer on it, and he's like friends with the guy. So like there was one part where he called Kevin Golden, and he's like, hey, he's like, is my worth jersey is my Colts or are Eli's jerseys worth more than mine? That kind of thing. And then so then his response was like, well, yeah, especially Eli's when he beat Tom Brady. He's like, but honestly, he's like, your Broncos jersey is still probably worth more. Like, but it's crazy, like the high dollar amount that people will pay for some of this stuff. Some of it was like musician memorabilia, or like even like stuff like notes, like. There was Michael Jackson's notes, I guess, to when he came up with, like, Beat It or something. Or one of them was, like, Jim Morrison from The Doors. His, like, original, like, driver's license or something like that. Like, it was really fascinating. It's just, like, yeah, and, like, people pay so much money for this stuff. There was an item that, like, sold for, like, $1 million and stuff. And basically, like, these live auctions that, like... And it's them trying to get people to, like, put this stuff on consignment. It's kind of got like we binged like most of the. I think my mom binged like the whole season in one day. I think I watched most of it, but it was really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I watched.
We'll get into the TV news then. A couple of things, pretty small, but exciting nonetheless. We got Walking Dead. Walking Dead will not die.
Apparently not.
But we got a trailer for Dead
Just
City.
comes back from the dead every time.
Yeah. Dead City is probably, if I'm going to choose, I'm probably going to choose one Walking Dead show to keep going on. I can't do all of them, but I do want to kind of be a part of that. I just love Walking Dead so much. But you can't make me.
I don't watch Walking Dead, and it sounds like Dead City would be the one that I would also go to. Like that just seems like the one that seems the most interesting.
Mm-hmm. The Rick Grimes one seems kind of cool. That was supposed to be a movie, and I was really excited for that movie. But now that it's going to be a show, I'm kind of like, meh.
I feel like people are kind of like past Rick now that he hasn't been in like the series so long. Like,
but if it would have been a movie, not a lot of commitment.
Yes,
it would have been big. People would have been like. That was a really bad misstep. I don't know what happened with the development of that movie for sure.
Sounds like somebody just got money hungry and was like, no, we need this to be a show.
Yeah, that could be. But Walking Dead Dead City follows Maggie and Negan. They go to the city. The trailer reveals that it's to find her son who was taken. It also shows why Negan's tagging along with Maggie, because if you watch the show, they hate each other a lot for a very good reason.
They gotta play off the
So, I don't know. This one seems interesting. Like it's in Manhattan, and I think
using that setting, that New York setting.
Yep. And it's like almost a little video game-esque. They have this UFC ring that they're fighting walkers in, and then the very end reveal in the trailer is this really cool looking walker. I'm assuming is Frankenstein together. They talked about the walkers are kind of evolving, so maybe it just evolved into what it is. But it's got like 10 different arms. It's like this giant like conglomerate of zombies.
Sounds like something like the Rat King.
Yeah.
The Last
I
of
was
Us
trying to think. Last of Us had one, and then Days Gone had something similar, I think.
Yeah.
It was like a bunch of... I think the Rat King is probably a really good example. They didn't have like 3 different heads or something? 3 different...
The Rat King was like a bunch of like infected, like all clumped into one. And
it
was terrifying.
Yep. It was so good.
Yeah.
and like it's really 2 seconds of trailer.
You can literally
but
go.
the CGI
look at
looks
that.
pretty decent.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're actually putting a little bit of money into it and actually doing a good job. Walking Dead has a lot of money, so there's no reason for them not to.
Yeah.
But that show's never felt cheaply made to me.
And then the thing that was
the writing's
supposed
just
to be Daryl and Carol, like that's only just Daryl now, right?
Yeah, Daryl and Carol is just Daryl in France.
So I feel like you're losing half of like what people would probably want to watch that show in particular for.
Yeah. Daryl's really cool. I don't understand the Daryl in France thing. Maybe they thought it would be interesting to take him out of his comfort zone. I would have loved more of like a, I don't know, like him starting a biker gang or something.
Because that would fit Norman Reedus' personality though too.
Yeah, like I do get the idea of maybe taking a character that would like never go to France, put him in France, and kind of letting that like play out that his character has to grow. But I think it's more to his strengths. Like a biker gang in The Walking Dead would be a cool thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And would have picked up on like Days Gone.
I was gonna say it'd be Days Gone at that point.
Days Gone, yeah.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been. I mean, why not beat them to it? You know.
Yeah. I mean,
you've already got a biker. You might as well.
Yeah, for real.
Play on that, but maybe he will. Maybe he'll have a biker gang in France. Who knows? I don't know what to expect. Like I said, probably Dead City is probably the one that I'm going to actually be checking out consistently.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is Andor. I'll definitely be watching Andor.
Ooh, yeah.
Star Wars has most of my attention. And the news for that is they just gave a little like... It's weird because it's the last 3 episodes, so I feel like this is kind of spoiler-esque, but it was revealed as kind of a tease. And that is that Andor, the end of Andor Season 2, the last 3 episodes, I believe, will be the 3 days leading up to Rogue One, which is super cool, but also means we're probably not getting more Andor after Season 2. I don't think we're getting a Season 3.
Yeah.
Due to some of the events in Rogue One.
And I think Andor is also being affected by that writer's strike thing, too.
Dang.
Well, yeah.
It's weird because I'm so sad about this writer's strike. Like, I'm like, oh man, that show's delayed. I really want that show, and this show's delayed. But then, like, Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon, that's not getting delayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, should it be delayed? Do you take your time? Like, don't have it. And then the other one is Rings of Power.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Rings of Power is continuing, but they're not going to continue with their showrunners. Because their showrunners are on strike, but they still have...
It makes you go back to Heroes, right? I mean, there's...
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe you should wait. Not that the showrunners did an amazing job season 1, but...
Right, but... Huh.
I'm just like, you probably need all of your ammunition if you want that to, like, fire correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Well, yeah. Writer strikes. Andor, take your time. Disney. We're in no rush.
This news does
Give
make me want to
quality.
watch more of Andor, though. I'll say that. Like, I watched a good little chunk of it, but it's like...
Oh, you didn't finish it?
No, this is going to give me ammunition
man.
to come back to it, because I think I maybe watched...
Yeah.
I think I watched maybe like 4 episodes. And there's a
Andor is better than Star Wars.
lot. Yeah.
Just like how Rogue One's better than Star Wars.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that bus show is
It
so
fits.
good.
Yeah, it is the best thing in Star Wars, including like 4, 5, and 6. Episode 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3. If you like 7, 8, 9, like it doesn't matter. Andor is the best thing Star Wars has ever been.
I think I would also put Visions in that category. Star Wars Visions, I think, is some of the best stuff. That like
super
isn't
different, because like you got one with like every episode's kind of like a one-off, like contained story, but so visually amazing and so creative. And then Andor, it's like obviously it's like a show that's like all the way through.
But it's like, hey, this is Star Wars, but it's so much more than Star Wars.
I think it's like the 2 perfect sides that encapsulate what I love about Star Wars. Like Andor and Visions, I think together create like, oh, this is Star Wars and it's really, really cool. Which is, I know, kind of ironic if it's
you
not.
Can kind of
The original movies.
It goes to show you can let people get creative. I think with the proper
totally. Yes.
Andor, it's crazy because it's more of like a political. It's almost like what 1, 2, and 3 wanted to be. This like political intrigue. There's not as much opera going on with that.
Yeah.
It's just this. It feels almost like cyberpunk, in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah.
Not the game, but the genre.
Yeah, almost like that. Almost like that one episode of Boba Fett kind of felt like.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean,
spend
not
a lot
Boba
of time
Fett,
in a cyberpunk
Mandalorian.
world, but it's like the outside of the big cyberpunk cities. You have Andor happening.
Yeah.
And you get reminded every once in a while that it's Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It feels like this really good political drama going on. I don't know. Great show. I want them to go pendulum swing. I want some like really high fantasy stuff too in Star Wars. I'm kind of hoping that Ahsoka will be that. We'll see.
Yeah,
I think Ahsoka will be more like Obi-Wan than anything else, but
I think if they really start diving into the High Republic stuff, like that's gonna be cool too. Just because like there's like a twinge of High Republic stuff in like Jedi Survivor, because like there's like characters and lore in the story that like you'll encounter that are High Republic related, and I think like High Republic is very. When you say high fantasy, I mean I guess it's in the word, but like it seems like, at least from what I can tell, there's stuff that's going to be very ornate, at least like in like the lightsaber designs and stuff like that. And it just seems like, and there's like books and comics out there already, but it's like it's kind of the first taste I've gotten of the High Republic stuff, and like it'd be kind of interesting for them to like actually start diving into that more in stuff other than like books and comics. Like I want to see more actual like that stuff on TV now. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
We can be done with the Order 66 for a while now at this point.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. Let's try for something new. Yeah.
Well, we will end the podcast there. You guys geeking out about anything else this week?
Nope,
I don't think so. Thank you.
I, for whatever reason, bought a hot wire to make D&D terrains, and I can pretty well say that I will not be making D&D terrains. I'm
Cool,
so bad
though.
about hot wire.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
But the opportunity, you know?
Yeah, it's there. What I'm wanting it for is little set pieces and things. None of my players have listened this far into the podcast, at least. I want like there's some ship stuff that's going to be happening, so I'd like to build just the shape of the ship.
Cool.
So that I can have the water be the map, and then the ship kind of sit on top of that. There's a little bit of depth. There'll be two ships like connected by planks and stuff. And
that's cool.
As a combat piece. Yeah. But actually working with it, I've seen people make such perfect lines. We got a cheap one, just a Hobby Lobby. That's part of the problem for what I've read, is that you need to pay for like a Proxon is like this big name. But my hand and my squares, my cuts are so jagged, they could never fit into the things that you see on YouTube are like perfect, like 3x3 squares. And they just clip together. You can get little magnets or whatever, or just push them together, and they fit really well. Mine aren't flush, like even in the slightest. So it'll make one cool boat. Maybe I can sand down and make it look nice. But I'm hoping just for the verticality of the map, I can
that sounds cool, especially for a D&D thing.
Yeah,
verticality is not something I consider like with D&D.
There's a lot of stuff with caves and things that I'm just like I would like a bridge or whatever, and it's so hard to draw a bridge on a map.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, that's another thing I'm geeking out about. I also bought the Lazy Dungeon Master, which is a book that I've been recommended. It's cool. It's a long book. It looks like a DM guide. Like it looks like one of the Wizards of the Coast books.
Nice.
But it's just kind of like a outline on how to make like what you need to prepare for a campaign without over preparing and wasting a lot of your time on stuff that probably won't get used.
Pretty smart. Pretty important to know.
Cool.
To balance to prioritize your time and figure out kind of that's good. That's smart.
Yeah. From what I've read so far, I recommend it. It's really good. Explains everything really well. And kind of just gives you a game plan. So you definitely want to have DM'd a little bit and kind of know what you're talking about. You can't just buy that and like for your first campaign if you've never played before. Won't really know what's going on, but
yeah, makes sense.
Cool thing. All right. Well, the podcast there then. LJ, where can they find you at?
You can find me everywhere on the internet under LJ the Paladin.
Oh, and Shelley?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
Cool. And you can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. And then on Twitter on Wednesdays, usually.
Twitch.
Wait, what did I say?
Twitter.
Twitter. You can always find me on Twitter.
Exclusively
Twitch, twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace on Wednesdays. You won't find me on Twitter specifically on Wednesdays. Yeah, twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace Wednesday nights at 7. Most weeks. I'm back and forth on it a little bit, but we're still playing Chained Echoes.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, we'll end it there. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.
It's on!